Morning mates, welcome back, thanks for stopping by. I'm just about to make breakfast. It's a Saturday, at the moment Saturdays mean a little bit of cardio, lower carbs, and I try and shift my meals to start a little bit later so that because I'm eating less, I don't get hungry and I can keep the time between my meals a little bit shorter. So while I'm cooking breakfast, I just wanted to let you know what I'm doing today. So basically, I am going to meet Loughman, who is one of the two Loughmans that run CrossFit Hereford, the CrossFit box that I attend. And one of two brothers that is going to be helping me on this journey to get me on stage using CrossFit programming. So I'm going to record our chat today. We're going to talk about programming for prep, working together, what that means, talk a little bit about my expectations, what I need to look like, and then I suppose just learn from him what he's gonna do. So I'm a little bit scared and I'm a little bit excited. Also, you have to excuse my lovely wet hair. I've just not long finished some cardio, had a shower. So anyway, so for breakfast this morning I'm having 3 chicken chipolatas from Aldi. They are my favourite thing for breakfast, along with some eggs. Now, I am a massive egg fan, but they have to be really good quality eggs. I'm looking for an orange yolk. Do you know what I mean? I don't want cheap eggs. Not only for the sake of the chickens, but more for my sake. No offence. No offence? Shut up. I'm gonna get cooking. Just want to show you what I mean. Just look at those golden oats, baby. Yummy! I'm so hungry. On my way, thought I would set my phone up to video my journey. So I have been training with CrossFit for about 6 months, and naturally there's a couple at the moment until I get heavily into prep. I have been using a few additions, kind of like some accessory work with my training to ensure that I still isolate my shoulders laterally and my glutes. Obviously with CrossFit there is a lot of pressing, a lot of rotation at the shoulder, and there's a lot of heavy leg work, but I would say it's pretty quad dominant. It's compound work, although I'm pretty good with engaging my glutes with compounds. It's inevitable that your quads are gonna, well, I'm quad dominant anyway. So last week, and I'm actually due to do this later today, I did my first full upper body session that was just hypertrophy training, like standard bodybuilding stuff, and I found it so dull. It was so dull, and I guess it taught me that this is so the right thing for me to do, because I really want to do another competition for a number of reasons that I'll go into another time, but I also really don't want to stop CrossFit. So why not bring the two together as a challenge, right? You know, I find the traditional hypertrophy training necessary, but to do it certainly at home in my garden is fucking boring. But maybe I'll feel different when I go back to the gym, but I don't know, man. Don't know. I don't know. I'm just so glad that I've decided to do this journey whilst working on continuing to improve my CrossFit skills and fitness, because it really pushes me, it challenges me to do stuff that I would never do because I hate it, and I'm getting fitter and it's working. So cool. So yeah, I guess I just need to chat more about programming for the next 15 weeks tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah, 15 weeks tomorrow to my first one. But more than anything, I guess it's understanding from both of our parts, really, isn't it? Like what we were talking about the other day about how bodybuilding, what the expectations are and how that can be manipulated with CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. I still want to work on my skills. I still suck on the bar, on the rig.
Yeah.
It's getting better, but yeah, it's definitely my worst thing. Yeah. The one thing that we have concern-wise in terms of the programming for CrossFit and how that affects me and my body and the achievements I need to make are two areas of my body which are so necessary for women, which are the lateral delt, so anything moving this way, because obviously CrossFit has a lot of pressing, rotation, and isolating my glutes, because there's a lot of compound work. I can smash my legs all day, but glutes and shoulders are like the most important thing when it comes to aesthetics with girls. So what do you reckon?
I think obviously coming from your background anyway, you kind of know yourself what movements are going to work well for you in terms of your preparation towards that. So obviously you have a bit of a focus on those movements aside from the CrossFit program. But I think just generally, I think when you look at the elite athletes in the CrossFit world, like Carrie Pierce or Tara Sigmund's daughter, at no point, and don't get me wrong, they are doing isolation to a degree, but at no point within their training regime are they focused on building to look a certain way. I think the way that they train and perform, naturally their body's taken to it, and I think Carrie Pierce is a prime example. She's just done 21.1 for the Open, and just the shape she is in is absolutely insane. I mean, well, for me, obviously, you probably know a bit more about the standards, what the judges will look for in a bodybuilding comp, but for me, like, I put on the stage, she is unbelievable. In great shape. So I think there's movements which will probably help you, again, especially on the gymnastic side of things, that will help you build maybe a bigger platform for you on those sort of areas you want to work on when it comes to the upper body and rear delts and stuff like that. I think movements like the pull-ups and variations of what we do, and I think that will be a big difference for yourself. And again, marrying that up with what you know anyway. The glute work then, I think, as you fully well know, like most of our CrossFit workouts involve something that you have to move your legs, you're going to have to lunge, you're going to have to squat to some sort of capability, and I think it's just a case then of again tying in those more specific movements like your glute raises, etc., like you do from the floor, any variations like that. It's just a case of just matching those up with those specific movements then, and I don't think it'll be too much.
I think more than anything, I'm just naturally, I think this comes from both parts. I know that you're really fascinated by the bodybuilding world, as I'm kind of fascinated by the programming of CrossFit, and it's such a new thing for me. I'm kind of looking forward to understanding how, because it's going to be such a different process where I'm reducing my input, increasing my output, I'm not working to improve my performance essentially, how that's going to work, because having experienced preps before where I'm not eating much, or my calories are low, it's really hard to even just do hypertrophy training sometimes.
Well, I think this might be a bit of a learning curve possibly in terms of how or for yourself, how you can rely on your training to be the process for where you're. I think in the bodybuilding world, obviously the nutrition side of it is probably greater, especially leading up to those last few years, far greater than the work you put in.
Yeah.
So I think it's finding the balance between the two now for yourself and thinking, okay, the training that I'm doing is going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I am still able to increase my performance and feel the benefits of it. And I say, it might even be the case where we have to tweak those calories for yourself and those macros in order to balance it out just a little bit more and just have that sort of trust that it's gonna pay off for you. Because again, relating to these CrossFit athletes, none of them are ever going to competition thinking, right, I need to reduce. No, they're building that calorie intake, and they aren't looking any worse for it. That's for sure. Do you know what I mean? I mean, some of these guys going there just absolutely shredded, and I think it might be now the point where we need to analyse your nutrition and marry that up with the calories that you will be burning in your training sessions.
I agree.
And it's going to be completely alien. And I know obviously at a competition you want to do the best you can do, but I think if anything, I think we could use this as a platform now for you moving forwards, and maybe in the realm that you work with your clientele, and how it can be manipulated differently to make it suit that person.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the thing that I think with my clients, something that I always strive to do is make sure that they are able to continue to improve performance. Whereas in the bodybuilding world, my last rep was very heavily focused on still continue to increase strength and focusing on that. But naturally, when your carbohydrates are lower and generally your energy is lower, having the mental strategy to be able to get through those sessions thinking I have to improve is tough, but that comes with the territory. You've got to try and make that happen, right? So I think it's just a bit scary thinking that I know that being lighter will help me with a lot of skills in CrossFit. I know that I'm a competitive person and I'm not going to give up, and I do want to improve. But I guess it's like you say, it's a new journey that...
Yeah, definitely, and I think I've probably been on the same journey as yourself in a sense where I've probably at my heaviest, probably about 3-4 years ago, been about 105 kilos.
Jeez!
And for a CrossFit athlete, it's kind of like, bloody hell, it's a big boy, like, really big boy. But I wouldn't say anything really suffered too badly. Obviously my gymnastics may have taken a little bit of a toll, but naturally I didn't really feel that difference. So within a year, I thought my training increased naturally because I was working towards a competition. So naturally I did drop weight and I went down to around 93 to 94 kilos. And at that point, psychologically, I'd already built that knowledge that my strength was there and it's not going to drop off. If it dropped off 2.5 to 5 kilos on the lift, I'm not really too worried about that because I know I'm going to make up more now because my gymnastic volumes increased massively in comparison to where I was. And when I say massively, it wasn't like astronomical figures, but just the way I could sustain those numbers was a lot better. So therefore my efficiency through competition became a lot better as well. So I think you can look at it in different ways really in terms of where you think you're going to end up. And obviously weight can dictate where you might end up as well. But I think at the end of it, I think you've got to know that your performance is still there. You don't want to get to a point where you drop so much that your performance is just gone, your strength's dropped. I don't think that's the route that you want to go, because then there's another platform after it to build back up again.
Absolutely.
I say you just want to carry on that journey and just be on a steady climb throughout now.
And be sensible.
Definitely.
Absolutely, and I think that's something I've experienced before with preps, and I think that's what people associate bodybuilding with, is that really unhealthy journey to cut your food down and feel like shit, and that's not what I want to do at all. So
psychologically, it's just not a good place to be in. And like, why would you want to go into competition thinking, I feel like shit. I probably don't even want to be here anymore because you just beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Like when I go into competition, you should have those natural butterflies. That okay, I know I'm the best I can be at the moment. I want to get out there and do it now. I want to show everyone.
Yeah. Right.
And
Exactly.
that's the sort of anxiety you want to have going into it. Not the anxiety is feeling down, feeling low because
Feeling shit.
because it might look great, but on the outside, you know that isn't going to be sustainable, possibly because of the state of mind you're in.
What are your thoughts for the next, 4 weeks? My calories have been high. I've been eating high for a start of a prep really. I've been eating about 300 grams of protein on carbs on training. No, definitely not. 150 grams of protein, about 300 grams of carbs on training days.
Yeah.
It's, I feel good when I'm training. I felt quite heavy at times. I don't think I've ever eaten this much in the lead up to a comp, but my composition is changing, so that's positive.
Yeah.
But I anticipate that things need to start moving now. It's less than 4 months away. I imagine that we're gonna need to decrease those carbs a bit this week, certainly.
Yeah, well, I say, obviously, you say you come off the back of the program from Charlie, where it's been more gymnastic based, and this is kind of how CrossFit programming works. So in your off season, you're building blocks in certain areas, gymnastic blocks, strength blocks, conditioning blocks, and you've got to really find the balance between those and where to place them in order to work towards them. Obviously, you're working towards a different competition, which isn't CrossFit related, but obviously after that, then we do want to be looking at that. So I think now it's going to have a steady trajectory, that's right, trajectory, okay, moving forwards into a place where, like I say, we're not going to have a huge drop off in gymnastics, not going to have a huge drop off in weight, but we're probably just going to have a little bit of an increase now on your cardio, your metcon work, and naturally that's going to be where the calorie burning is going to be. But again, you're still going to have those gymnastic and strength components there as well. So it's going to be more of a generalised CrossFit program as opposed to something where it's more specific in those areas. But again, you're still going to have those points where you can build those foundations still.
Good.
So yeah, it's quite easy really in a way in terms of the program because it's quite a fulfilled CrossFit program. So so from your perspective, you're going to have maybe 2 to 3 weightlifting sessions a week. And then probably 2 to 3 gymnastic sessions as well.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And probably loads of burpees.
Lots of burpees, over the top snatches, so all the fun stuff will be
all the fun. I'm more than happy, and I think this is something that I've said from the start, and why I love the idea of the challenge to do it CrossFit programs. But I think for me, increasing the output rather than losing too much nutrition is always going to be my priority, like increasing the amount of calories that I'm burning. Not necessarily the duration or the amount of time I spend training, but certainly pushing myself more. Because that way, as a natural female athlete, I'm going to be able to manage my muscle tissue better and keep hold of it. Because that's my fear is, previous preps, it's inevitable I'm going to lose some, but I just lose so much. And I know a massive part of that is calorie restriction. So I agree. I think it would make more sense to work harder, work smarter, and keep my calories up. Yeah,
and I think another huge benefit for you now is that your training is going to be goal based as well. In the sense where I guess when you're training in the bodybuilding world, like obviously you're looking to push more reps. But I think the point of where you're recording those numbers kind of maybe gets lost along the way as well, can get lost. Whereas I think with the style that we use, it's all objective based, and you're gonna feel that satisfaction after each workout as well, and feel like, okay, I've worked really hard today. I felt I've got a little bit closer to my goal. And that's always a huge benefit as well, huge benefit. And I think when it does come to your first CrossFit comp, I think it'll be really exciting for you to really sort of test yourself. Yeah, it's
I like
good.
it. And that's what the Zoom class is. As much as I literally can't wait to get back in there,
Yeah.
seeing all the equipment is exciting. But the Zoom classes have been really helpful for that, because if it wasn't for those, I probably wouldn't have done half of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just kept people on track a little bit, and a little bit of routine as well, and accountability still for your own training, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of taking out that excuse a little bit for some people have maybe doing their own things, which is great, but our programming's still there for them. But I think being part of something and feeling part of something is just that little bit more to it.
100%, and I think that's the bit that really surprised me, because I've always trained alone. Even before I was in bodybuilding, I've always just found that my favourite, time to myself. But that's the bit that surprised me. I think the thing that held me back to coming CrossFit sooner was that it was like a team and a community.
Yeah.
Because I'm out for me. And that's the bit that actually keeps drawing me back.
I think you're right. A lot of people may perceive it to be that way, and I think maybe they have been training alone for so long they don't feel that just not comfortable in that scenario. So
exactly.
I think once you do get that first session, you kind of get that understanding as what it is. Do you know what I mean? So
perfect. Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I've just got back from meeting Will. I have had a little reflection in the car, and I thought that I needed to just come in and kind of sign off with you guys. I hope that you found our chat insightful about what the next 4 weeks is going to entail. I feel I just feel a bit kind of dumbfounded at the moment that this is going to be such a new process for me. And you know what it's like when you start doing anything new, you have to have that trust, especially with something as extreme as a competition prep. So I trust the boys so much. So I just need to now trust the process, and it's scary, but we're gonna do it anyway. Thank you for stopping by. If you want to follow the rest of this crazy fucking journey that I'm just about to embark on, then hit subscribe. I'd really love you to stay in touch, and of course, please comment, like, share, if you think anybody that you know might have something to say about a bodybuilder crossfitting to get on stage.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.